We've now officially lost all our audience.
All right, welcome to Bonehead. This week's episode, we try to make it through and make it entertaining.
We're failing miserably already.
We failed miserably already, and for 40 previous episodes, or ever how many there are. So, this week's episode's topic is...
Hidden gems.
Hidden gems. Movies that we love that we don't think you all know about.
Well, shit, there goes my list. Sapphire, gone. Cubic zirconia, gone. Jade.
Play that to him?
Jade.
Is this cubic zirconia? Are those hidden? Don't they give those away? Like,
You want to explain that to him?
Jade, gone, and that is actually not a hidden gem either. That movie is a pile of crap.
Don't you ever besmirch the name of CIS dude. What's his
David Caruso.
David Caruso.
Could have gone NYPD Blue or First Blood.
Don't you ever besmirch them.
they drew First Blood. They did it.
Or that, what's that? Kiss of Death?
Yeah, Kiss of Death's probably not bad.
That's where Nicolas Cage broke his nose.
Yeah.
Let's talk about hidden gems.
Anyway, hidden gems.
You know what Kiss of Death is not? Probably not a hidden gem.
Yeah.
So, speaking of
It
hidden...
wasn't even a French.
Yeah. What's that movie with him, with Nicolas Cage and Tommy Lee Jones in the helicopter?
Firebirds.
Thank you, Joe. All right, let's move on.
Now that we've got that out of the way, Firebirds,
Roll credits.
which isn't really a hidden gem. I had a hard time with this one because we've had it up on the board forever of doing our hidden gems of films that we know that are out there that are fantastic that we don't know that most people or the grand big audience is aware of. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's not in this cultural zeitgeist.
Yes, I was about to say. Yeah, and one of the problems I had with it is that I know a lot of films that are obscure
Right.
that I like, but picking some from that list that I'd be like, oh, well, other people would like these too.
Here's my tough one. So I started reading other people's lists. I had what I already knew, several of them. Then I started reading, just Googling other people's lists. And a lot of them were in the 2000s. Best case, maybe the 90s. And I thought, they've been making cinema for quite a while now. Why are they only in the last 20 years? So I started thinking of some of my favorite movies that are older. And then I couldn't figure out, is that a hidden gem? Or is it just 70 years old, nobody remembers, and does that make it a hidden gem? Does that make sense?
I went through the exact same issue.
I was arguing in my head of what's a hidden gem or what's something that's just not as popular anymore unless you're in the movies. I honestly don't think we're going to throw out anything that a film geek is not going to know about or have reference to.
And for me, I struggled with it because my original list was movies mainly from the 80s, early 90s, a couple of movies from the 70s. And I felt like I was leaving out the modern movies, so I actually went back and revised my list. And I have a movie that's a hidden gem that was released 7 months ago.
Oh, well, there you go. It's probably one of his favorites of the Christmas episode.
I was say, does it involve a maze?
A maze?
Wait, the Christmas episode, we talked about the Christmas Carol for a whole hour.
Does it? I don't give a crap.
He don't give a turkey. When the bandit, the snowman
are on the move, no one can stop us. We should do a whole episode of Smokey and the Bandit.
That was one that's talking...
Or at least road pictures.
Talking about that, though, I
on the
realize
list.
It's on the list, yeah.
It's number 3 on the list.
Talking about car pictures, though, the amount of people that don't know Smokey and the Bandit anymore is troubling to me.
Well, and it came out the same year as the water coming down that we can hear right now.
The Star Wars.
The Star Wars.
Second highest grossing picture of the year, right?
Was
behind
Smokey and the Bandit.
A certain Star Wars.
Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit was
I
number
would
2.
like some Hush Puppies.
We ain't got time for that crap.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I had a really hard time with my list because I didn't know what to put. And we're going to do, we just talked about it before the show and I didn't know. Oh yeah, really quick. Today, as we tape this, is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you for my other fellow geeks out there.
That's going to be real time, like 3 weeks from now when this airs.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't get it.
See, there was a thing called Star Wars. You were too busy watching Smokey and the Bandit when it came out.
I'd rather be watching Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh my God! Why wasn't Smokey and the Bandit 2 called The Sheriff Strikes Back?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it'd have been hilarious.
Oh my God!
Smokey, I am your daddy.
I prefer Smokey.
I'm gonna go home and punch your sister straight in the mouth.
Wow.
I prefer Smokey and the Bandit 3 to the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Just saying.
Yeah.
It's fair. Jerry Reed. You know what would have made the Phantom Menace better?
Jerry Reed.
Jerry
Reed driving a semi, running over Jar Jar.
No.
Made that movie
even
so
better.
much better.
No offense meant to Ahmed Best, who did Jar Jar, but if that would have been Jerry Reed, I don't care that the lines are bad. That just would have been entertaining.
He was too busy.
And then if he broke out a song, like in the middle of it, like the Scooby-Doo episode he did, Pretty Mary Sunshine, she's all right with me.
Look it up, kids. All this
Pretty
stuff
Mary
happened.
Sunshine.
Hidden
Damn,
Gem
I'm not
number
gonna listen
one.
to it. Sorry.
Joe, go.
Oh my God, the pod race scene would have been awesome.
Oh my God. Bandit War.
Oh my God, a song about Anakin having to race with Jar Jar as Jerry Reed as Jar Jar.
And Anakin driving.
Tatooine down, loaded up and trucking.
I know this isn't in the Smokey.
We're going to do it 12 parsecs.
I know this is not in Smokey and the Bandit, but I just got we got a great big convoy.
That's C.W. McCall.
Oh my God.
By the way, the fact that I know all of this and still manage somehow for somebody to go, no, give him a PhD.
Yeah.
I know. He just wanted to drop that he's more educated than the other two boneheads. Or other
did
three
not
boneheads.
want to drop
hey,
that.
there's still time for you to go get your degrees.
I didn't mean
more degrees. Do you have a PhD? I don't either.
I didn't mean to drop that. Anybody that listens can tell.
I got a nice pH balance.
No, you don't.
You don't.
You are acidic. This counts as mountain.
I've also been wanting to talk to you about your A1C levels. You got the sugar. you got the sugars.
Anyway,
Chad has got the
Are we
diabetes.
going to talk about tin gems at some point?
Oh, not
did
really.
you say tension?
Yeah,
What?
tension.
I got a lot of
high tension?
High tension.
Tension? Yeah.
That's I mean,
All right.
not a lot of people know. That's pretty good. Though.
Oddly enough, I did not. For my number one, I did not mean to go from card picture to card picture, but I'm about to. And I probably stole this one. I didn't know if Chad was going to use it or not, but I think Chad's going to use another one that could kind of be considered a card picture. It has an ambulance in it from the 70s.
Oh, man, I was tempted.
I bought the poster. I was actually going to say, do you want to hold it up? I got it like a week ago.
Are you all talking about?
Oh, that's
jeez!
Not yet.
Shush!
Shh.
Hey,
Bill
look, can you
Cosby
beat that
hasn't been
out?
in prison yet. Anyway, so my first movie is Used Cars. Used Cars was directed by
Robert Zemeckis.
Robert Zemeckis, and it was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Now, why would you know those names? What did Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale write together? Little movie called 1941. But on top of that,
But after that, Jim.
they also wrote something called Back to the Future.
Oh, I was going to say The Walk.
No, I don't think Bob Gale had anything to do with that. I think Bob Zemeckis outrose Bob Gale somewhere along that way. But anyway, they wrote Back to the Future. And for any of you out there who know, Back to the Future is a movie about a spaceman who tries to sleep with his mother.
How does he get Spaceman? I know there's a scene where he
Darth
says
Vader from the planet Vulcan.
So, have you seen Used Cars?
I have seen Used Cars.
Have you seen Used Cars?
Do you even need to
I
ask?
know, I just wanted to say.
Palomino.
Jesus, Palomino.
One of the best movies ever
You're
made.
going to ride this red... Anyway, so Used Cars cast. And this is something I've noticed with my movies, or the ones I picked. The cast, man. Even if they bombed, the cast were awesome.
You know, mine has that pretty well going.
Kurt Russell was the star, and this is before Kurt Russell was Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his name was probably Kurt Russell, but he was by no means
Actually,
the star.
then he was Archibald T. Armstrong.
A year later, he would star as Snake Plissken, probably in his most successful role. Well, he'd been in a lot of Disney movies, and he's trying to get away from that. He played Elvis in a TV movie directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
But probably his most theatrical successful film would be Escape from New York after that. Kurt Russell. Jack Warden. What would be more successful for that?
We got to track when it was Overboard, babe.
Way after, 87.
The remake comes up this week.
Yeah,
So
and it's
Jack
terrible,
Warden,
supposedly.
hilarious. Garrett Graham was in. If you know, he's in a really famous cult movie called The Phantom of the Paradise that some people love. Frank Murray was the mechanic who refused to get in a car that was... Garrett Graham refused to get in a car that was red, right?
Yeah.
Garrett Graham went on to also be in a certain other show, correct?
Police Academy 6. Star Trek? Everybody's in Star Trek.
Garrett Graham, if I'm not mistaken, plays a Vulcan in Enterprise.
Yeah, everybody's in Star Trek. Joe Flaherty, who we would know from David Lander or Mike McKeon, that was Lenny and Squiggy. They were both in it. So, Al Lewis was the judge, the hanging judge. Al Lewis played Grandpa in The Munsters.
Did you say Jack Warden?
Yes, I said Jack Warden. I said Jack Warden after Kurt Russell.
I blanked out on you.
Anyway, Used Cars is a very dirty movie. And by dirty, I mean there's a lot of F words,
Dirty
topless
boy.
women. Trying to think. It was probably a hard R for 80.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
And it's about a guy, two twin brothers. They own used car lots. One of them, Royal Elf. They're both the Fuchs brothers. One owns a really successful lot over here. The other one owns and is dishonest and pays off politicians and whatnot. The other one's over here. He's an honest guy, small lot. He has a heart condition. The rich brother is paying the city for the new interstate to go through his brother's lot, so he'll have prime real estate. Well, he finds out that it's not going to go through his brother's lot, it's going to go through his lot. So he actually hires a stunt driver to try to kill his brother and cause a heart attack, which it does. Mm-hmm. Kurt Russell is a salesman for him who's trying to buy his way into Congress. Everybody in the movie is a scumbag except for the guy that dies with a heart attack.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
Everybody in the movie's a scumbag.
The mechanic's a good guy.
Who falls asleep, who's a narcoleptic.
Yes.
And you do scenes with him holding a blowtorch. Right?
But in all fairness, that's not his fault. He has a medical condition.
Well, we never...
Bonehead supports narcoleptics.
We have to. They'll fall on the ground.
So will you if you stand up right now?
Oh! For you all that don't know, I have a condition. It's called assholishness.
For French
nobody knows that. You just don't suffer from assholishness.
Oh,
Anyway.
I suffer from it. I'm surrounded by it. Anyway,
he drank deep from the cup.
This sounds like a really convoluted plot.
He fell in the damn well, James.
Drowning! And we still dump water.
When he says drowning, he hits a whole new level. And I was watching an episode the other day, and you say, "That a guitar!" You say guitar. You literally,
sir, you're lucky.
Swear to God, it's guitar, not guitar.
You are lucky it is not Guitfiddle when I say
Guitfiddle. Honest to God, if you just said Guitfiddle in that one point, you would have sounded less rednecky than guitar.
I come from a long line of white trash, sir.
Hey, are you okay?
Coming this summer, John Travolta. Guitfiddle.
Guitfiddle. Anyway, Used Cars.
Travolta wouldn't be who I would cast. I picture more John Turturro. Kind of a Coen brother film.
The reason I picked Used Cars is it was also produced by Steven Spielberg. And they couldn't get it done at Universal, and the head of Columbia at the time had actually worked as a used car salesman, read the script, laughed out loud, said, "Yeah, I totally get it." And then they made the movie. And then they didn't really care for the movie, and it didn't really get a good release, even though it tested well, and it ended up being a bomb that I feel that most people don't remember.
Yeah,
Specifically, the only thing Bob Zemeckis directed that people remember less is probably his first film, I Want to Hold Your Hand, which I've actually never seen.
I've actually never seen it
Which is
either.
about kids trying to get into a Beatles concert.
Right. Oh, no, I have seen that one.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
I've never seen it.
You know what?
No one remembers Used Cars. A friend of mine, who James and I work with, I was like, Used Cars, and he's a film geek. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, it's such a great film. I mean, it's just one of those movies that I've watched over and over again.
It's a funny movie. If you have a dark sense of humor and you don't have a problem with topless women and the F word, then you should check out Used Cars. And if you're a fan of Kurt Russell and topless women and the F word. Did I get that in there enough?
Yeah.
Have I sold Used Cars enough? Is there anything else you all want to add to it?
Oh, I'm good.
I'm good.
Why didn't they do a sequel called New Cars?
Well, wouldn't the original been new and then the sequel have been used?
Oh, then prequel.
Oh, prequel, New Cars. Before somebody else gets them.
Why isn't Hollywood calling us?
We strike first. Depreciation. Used cars too. Depreciation.
James, what do you got?
Oh, you want me to go
Yeah,
next?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Why don't you want to go next?
I can go next. I just was being polite.
Why?
Well, I'll
There's
go
no
with
point
one
starting
that
now.
a lot of people know what followed it, but Django.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people know Tarantino's Django, but...
So Franco Nero, if you have seen Tarantino's Django, the scene where he's at the bar, and he goes up, and he goes, Django, the D is silent. The guy that says, yeah, I know, is Franco Nero, who played the original Django. And the song that Tarantino uses in the beginning is the original song for Django. Mm-hmm. The movie itself, there have been, if you're into spaghetti westerns and Italian-made westerns and all that stuff, there have been about 40 Django films. Only 2 were made by Sergio Corbucci, and Sergio Corbucci made Django and was a...
Somewhere, Mr. Corbucci's head's exploding because James is saying it wrong.
Oh, I know.
Guitar!
Guitfiddle.
And Sergio Corbucci loves Franco Nero. They did a lot of films together. They only did 2 Django films, but there were tons of imitators to this. And if you play video games, any video games, Western themes, there's allusions to this. The best known one, Red Dead Revolver, which was the first of the Red Dead Redemption series on the old system, has a villain that carries his machine gun in a
Coffin.
Oh,
and that is a great... It just... That scene when he shows up and he's dragging a coffin, it's just great. Have you seen it, Chad?
I have not seen the...
Oh, take it with you this
the
weekend.
beginning of the movie, he finds this woman being assaulted by bandits, and you first see him, he doesn't have a horse, he's poor, he's beat down, you don't know anything about him, and you just see this guy coming over the hill dragging a coffin behind him. No explanation, nothing else. And then he gets in to basically a fight with these guys to save this woman. If you know the Man with No Name series and all of that stuff that Sergio Leone did, Corbucci said that Leone had Clint Eastwood, I had Franco Nero, and he said I wouldn't have traded him. The difference is that the Man with No Name, Clint Eastwood's character, is kind of this cool, not suave, but he's cool, and he always seems to have the hand up and all that stuff.
I'd say he's suave.
You would.
Django doesn't.
He'd have a deboner.
Swave and deboner. Django, though, it's a really great movie. It's got a lot of the spaghetti western stuff in it, but it's
meatballs.
Just if you've seen the Quentin Tarantino version, you're going to see stuff that is echoed in it. It's not the same movie. But this movie, I just enjoy the heck out of it. And they did go back. They waited 20 years before they made the official sequel. But if you search Django, you'll find literally tons of films that were made in Italy. Some of them are set in the 1920s gangster movies, stuff like that. But this is the original. You want the one with Franco Nero. They did one sequel that's also him. It's not as highly regarded. But if you've never watched outside of the Clint Eastwood and the spaghetti westerns, this is the one I would go for.
I'd actually never watched it till James made me watch it, and then I was home one day. Don't remember. It took me forever to get to it. And I finally watched it, and I couldn't stop. It's just there's so many. I don't know. It just draws you into it.
Actually, it says here on the back of it, there's been 50 unofficial sequels to this movie.
Yeah, and they just ripped it off because it was such a hit that they just kept stealing it, and people won't stop walking above us. Sorry.
But Blue Underground, this is the version that Blue Underground remastered, and they went back to the original footage. This came out in '66, but so many people know the title because of Quentin Tarantino.
It came out what year?
'66.
And if you add 3 to that?
69.
Yeah!
How about you add 2 to it?
I can't do that kind of math.
Anyway.
71?
No. 68. You blow me and all you want.
For the kids. Anyway, but this is a film that you should check out.
Don't let me do that anymore.
Corbucci made some other films that other people like. The Great Silence is one of them. Never the hit that Sergio Leone was in America.
No.
But this is definitely what I would call a classic Western. It's just fascinating to watch, and the visuals are so strong.
It's simplistic. It's just the visuals and
the other thing
Franco
that
Nero,
if you are a Tarantino fan, and I don't want to give too much of the movie away, But if you like a certain key scene in Reservoir Dogs, watch this movie because Tarantino loves this movie. Not only did he, quote unquote, update it, change the story, but not only did he update it, but the scene in Reservoir Dogs that most people remember came from this movie.
The scene where Harvey Keitel's brushing his hair in the bathroom.
Oh no! The scene where he asks Mr. White, Mr. White asks Mr. Blonde if he remembered to get the French fries with his Coke.
Oh,
with his soda.
No,
Did you remember to get the French fries?
Was it the scene? That was the scene on the roof with Tim Roth and Samuel Jackson.
No, you idiots! It's the tipping scene. There's an entire scene. There's an entire.
Oh, that wasn't Sam Jackson. Dang, sorry.
The entire scene of the tipping came from this movie. It comes out of left field. They just cut to a place. What do you mean you don't tip? They have that entire scene, and no, it does. Tarantino loves this movie, so if you like Tarantino, if you've enjoyed any of his films, check out Django.
Chad's up.
All right.
Let's make fun of Chad.
Yeah, let's make fun of me. I think this is a hidden gem. So...
With no idea how this could go,
me,
by the way.
Space Jam.
No, it's not Space Jam.
I believe I can fly.
So,
the only R. Kelly song that you can talk about now.
Universal Treasure.
Piss on that.
Universal Treasure. Amazing actor. Amazing comedian. Bill Murray.
Serena Williams?
No, I'm going to be talking about Quick Change. You had it on your list?
No, it almost made it. But I couldn't figure out what you were going to do, if it was going to be that or the... You're absolutely right. By the way, I commend you. No one remembers Quick Change.
Nobody remembers Quick Change. Out of every movie Bill Murray's done, I would say Quick Change is one of the better films that nobody remembers.
No one remembers.
And, no, it was kind of funny when I was doing my list. Right away, one of the movies James is going to bring up was my number one. I'm like, oh, James is going to bring that one up. Take it away. And then another movie that James kind of ruined, I was going to bring up. And I'm like, no, Joe's going to bring that up. Well, I decided not to bring it up for other reasons. So if you're going to bring it up, you bring it up. But no, Quick Change was definitely at number one compared to the one I took off my list because of James. So what is... Let's
the moon-faced assassin of joy.
No, I love both movies equally. Let's talk about the cast real quick. So, Bill Murray, Gina Davis, Randy Quaid, pre-Gonzo Nuts. Yeah.
Pre-YouTube video.
Yeah. And let's face it, he was probably nuts back then. It's just...
Pre-YouTube
He was a pretty hot commodity. And then Jason Robards. Amazing, talented... rest in peace, Jason Robards. And then smaller, Tony Shalhoub is it?
Tony Shalhoub is the taxi driver.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub plays the taxi driver? Go on.
Have you not seen Quick Change?
No, not that I know of.
James!
No one saw it. It came out and blew.
When did it come out?
I think it came in 90.
89 or 90, I was going to say.
Because here's my comment on that, and I was going to bring this up, because I almost brought up Where the Buffalo Roam, because I think if you do like Hunter S. Thompson on movies... that you kind of need to see that one.
You need to see it, but I don't know that it's a good movie.
I don't think
but that being said, it's amazing to me that I hope Bill Murray... I wouldn't want to work with him. Sorry, Bill. I would if I had a chance. But it's...
I'd want to party with him, really.
Yeah, no, I'd love to hang out. I don't know if I want to work with him. That's two different relationships.
Bill Murray, by chance you watch it, come over here and sit on the couch with us for an hour.
Yeah. Make fun of me. Go ahead. My mom does.
No.
Anyway, but I was just saying, there's an entire subsect of relatively good to really good films that Bill Murray has done that people don't know. As big as he is, there's a lot of people that have no idea about some of his films.
Well, Quick Change is also co-directed by him.
Oh, I was going to look up all this information. I didn't have it.
He didn't direct it all, but he co-directed.
Yeah.
It's the same guy that directed later Larger Than Life.
Ooh.
But I don't know his name. I want to say Howard Deutsch, but that's not it. Howard Franklin. Oh, damned if I wasn't close.
No, but
Howard Deutsch directed.
And I love how it's put together, because it's like the first 20 minutes is
it's a robbery.
It's a robbery. It's a bank heist film with Bill Murray dressed as a clown.
Maybe I did see this. It's been a long time. It would have been like early 90s.
Yeah.
I rewatched it last year and it still holds up.
Oh yeah, I watched it. I think I watched it last year too. And then after, so there's the bank heist, and then the rest of the movie is basically just a night movie of everything happens in one night of them trying to get out of New York City with this money before they get arrested, and just one thing after another happens.
They're crooks.
They're crooks.
Watch as their heads explode. So it's kind of like Trapped in Paradise.
Oh, James.
In the sense of, this is funny. I don't even know. It is a comedy, but it is, it's not a laugh out loud kind of comedy.
You really think so? Because there's several scenes where I laugh out loud, especially with Tony Shalhoub, who is one of the most underappreciated character actors in American history.
Probably.
Everybody remembers him from Monk.
Yeah.
But
Monk and Wings.
Yeah. But his movie career as supporting actor is amazing. But anyway, Quick Change. Just an amazing film. There's plenty of laughs. Randy Quaid is amazing. I don't think you could go wrong with this. And I
think I saw the sign. Her name's Phyllis, right? It's Phyllis? Crap. I almost remembered all their names. Character names.
I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
But no, Haley's throwing a thumbs up.
Phyllis? Yeah. So the plot is they're the ones robbing the bank, and they're dressed up as other people, and they sneak out with the release of the hostages.
Right.
With the money strapped to them.
Right.
And then they are going to get on a plane, and then they completely pull one over. Jason Robards is the cop. They completely pull one over all of New York City's police. Right? That's the part you're probably leaving out. And then what happens? They get away with it, and then can't get out of New York City.
Right, yeah, just everything that could possibly go wrong.
Goes wrong. Yeah. All the way up into the plane.
Right.
Yeah.
And even still, the plane.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice little twist, not a twist ending, but
it's a slightly twist ending.
It's a slightly twist ending. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And the fact that nobody remembers this, and the fact that it bombed, I don't even remember it coming out in the theater.
I do, but nobody'd take me to see it.
Yeah, and
I got to see Ghostbusters too, but not that.
And I wish I was going to do more research about what came out that same weekend, and I didn't get a chance to.
That'd be cool. I don't know why. There's a couple of the movies that I don't think people remember with Bill Murray. There's The Razor's Edge. That was the drama he did over Somerset.
But that's why he did Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, and so they let him do that. No one remembers that one. Actually, I've only seen scenes from it. Where the Buffalo Run, where he played that, and then Quick Change, I think is 3. Well, and then the Moon movie.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? At Long Last Love or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that never got released.
And I'm the one of the few people who DVR'd and happened to catch it on the Turner Classic Movies one time. It played up 2.
And it may be one of the 2, and he doesn't get enough credit for this one because it's his scene and one other scene that is the best parts of Coffee and Cigarettes.
Yeah. He's with the Wu-Tang Clan,
yes,
right?
Yes, he's with the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, that's my...
I think more people will remember that because of Jim Jarmusch.
Yeah.
Probably.
And that's why it's not a hidden gem, because people still talk about Coffee and Cigarettes to this day, but nobody talks about Quick Change.
Ghost Dog came up, by the way, on 3 different lists, and I'll argue to this day that Ghost Dog is not a good movie. I don't understand.
I liked Ghost Dog.
I liked scenes in it.
I liked it. It's slow and...
Oddly enough, Jim Jarmusch probably directed Bill Murray in his best performance.
Space Jam.
The one where he's trying to find...
Not the one, Broken Flowers. Not the one he was nominated for the Oscar.
No, I was the one where he's trying to find his son. Yeah. No, that's his best
my
movie.
Favorite Bill Murray performance is Broken Flowers.
Yep. All right.
Oh, God, that's good.
That's Hidden Gem, too.
Is that one hidden?
I don't know.
More than Quick Change?
I don't know if most people...
It's not Quick Change Hidden Gem, because people don't know.
Because with one of the 3 people in this area haven't seen it. No offense, Haley.
Yeah, because I've talked to people about Quick Change, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Bill Murray." I've never heard of it, so that was why it was number 1 on my list. So, what do you got, Joe?
All right, so I'm a big Carpenter fan, so part of me wanted to scream out. But the thing is about The Thing, with John Carpenter's The Thing came out in 1982, either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after E.T. crushed it, and everybody wanted to see an alien who was
cute, fluffy,
lovable. And John Carpenter made everybody throw up that summer. But 82 has had documentaries about it of all the great movies, so I don't want to spend a lot, because I feel The Thing has gotten its due over the last
year.
And here's why I won't consider The Thing a hidden gem.
That me either. I'm telling you all this to go.
But you have an action figure somewhere over here of The Thing.
It's on the behind
I'm going to go ahead and say, if you've got an action figure made of your movie, and it's came out after your movie came out, that's not a hidden gem.
It's not anymore. It was, and it isn't.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
It was discovered, finally.
It was discovered, and has, I think, probably in the last 15 to 20 years, been loved. And especially in the last 10, has been loved on. So much so that they made a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason why it's not a hidden gem. What do you think?
Yeah.
Even though the prequel sucked. However, I was going through the catalog, and it's like, well, I got to throw a Carpenter film. Which one is really, really good that no one talks about anymore? And this is going to make James's day.
Please tell me you're not going to bring up Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
It totally is Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Oh, man.
I don't think anybody talks about it in the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, I thought he actually was going to bring up Memoirs of an
Now, that is my argument, and I was waiting for you all to push back on this, but no one ever brings up in the Mouth of Madness.
No, nobody talks about that.
And it came out, and it was bombed. No one went and saw it. What'd you say?
In the Mouth of Madness, it's a special place in my heart, but actually an ex-girlfriend introduced me to it. Because I hadn't seen it. And she was like, no, I watch this movie at least once a month. You've got to come over and watch it. And we watched it.
At the time, I was a huge Carpenter fan when it came out. I knew it was coming out. My mom and dad had split up, so I got to go to the movies a lot on Friday nights or Saturdays after school. And it never played. It was called Fugates back home. It was never there. To my knowledge, I never got to see it. I had to watch it when it came out on video.
So, for people who haven't seen it, Sam Neill.
I was about to go into it. It's written by Michael DeLuca. Michael DeLuca is famous for basically, he wrote several films, but he actually became a producer and ran New Line Cinema for a while, and then left New Line and has done other things and has worked at different studios and been a huge producer in Hollywood. But he wrote the screenplay. It's directed by John Carpenter. It stars Sam Neill. Now listen to this cat. Oh, actually, I didn't write them all down, but I can remember them all. Sam Neill, Charlton Heston's in it.
Glover.
John Glover's in it. If you're a big fan of John Glover, and everybody,
Haley is.
Everybody here is. I love John. John Glover's in it. He plays the guy over the institution.
Yeah.
David Warner. David Warner's the guy who's interrogating him or asking him about the question what happened. So, and I'm missing some other person. One other person.
Oh, it's got a phenomenal cast.
There's a bunch of, if you're a fan of Carpenter, there's a lot of his troupe that are in there that are in cameos.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is basically Lovecraft without the name Lovecraft on it.
It's Lovecraft written by Stephen King, except they can't use the name Stephen King.
Or Lovecraft. And I would actually argue the fact it's much more. So what it's about is about an insurance investigator played by Sam Neill, who basically investigates fraud, and he gets paid to do this. And he's brought in because this guy who's a writer, and the line is in the movie, his name's Sutter Kane, played by Jürgen Prochnow,
Yes.
Jürgen Prochnow, who's a famous German actor, who is...
best known for Judge Dredd.
Yeah, not Das Boot.
I was going to actually go with...
Das Boot!
Beer Fest?
No, House of the Dead. He
Yeah.
plays Captain Kirk.
Yeah, no.
Anyway.
Judge Dredd.
No.
Judge Dredd.
Even I feel guilty saying that.
Is in it. And he plays an author named Sutter Kane. Sutter Kane's went missing. All the comments are Sutter Kane is bigger than Stephen King. The comments all the way through it. Yeah. Clearly, a lot of this is allusions. James is right to King, but mainly Lovecraft. I mean, there's Hobbs End, which is a throw out to I think it's 1 million BC, which is that's Quatermass.
Yeah.
Quatermass in the Pit. And then there's Pickman, one of the characters' names like Pickman's model.
Which Quatermass in the Pit is one of John Carpenter's favorites, right?
And have you ever watched Quatermass in the Pit? It's one of my favorites,
I watched it with you, Joe.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, it was okay.
Oh, you bastard. But they're telling them what to do, and they're like, bugs!
I know. We watched it.
And they're British. Anyway, yeah, it's one of his favorites. So you can see a lot of influence from what he loves and from his childhood. So he's hired to investigate and then he has to go on the book company sends a lady with him. They have to go through New England. Where is Stephen King from? Where is everything that Lovecraft written?
Idaho, right? England. It's from Idaho.
Idaho.
He loves potatoes.
To look for this town that doesn't match, because he finds kind of a map. And people were going crazy reading Sutter Kane. One of the first movies is coming.
I would say because the opening of when he first gets the assignment, a man with an axe almost kills him, comes through the window.
Right. And he's a fan of Sutter Kane. And it's actually...
you read
Sutter Kane is his editor. So he goes up through there with her, and they find the town that doesn't exist anymore, that's not on any maps. And one thing leads to another, and I don't want to give away too much plot, but it's all basically Lovecraft and paranoia, and it has great in-jokes, like the movies being made, or if you don't go crazy, well, if you don't read, then how are you going to go when the movie comes out next week? It's going to drive them crazy.
And one thing that I give that movie is the sound.
Sound, and by the way...
The bicycle.
Yes.
Bicycle sound.
Soundtrack, the score is by John Carpenter and Jim Lang, the famous guitarist, by the way. It is...
Joe.
What?
The famous what?
Guitarist.
Guitarist.
The famous Guitfiddleist.
Whatever. Keep making fun of my accent, you inbred hill
I have one too. It was just listening to us. And guitar!
I can't. Every time I talk, I sound like I'm having an asthma attack.
It goes all Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper Blue Velvet on
What's the character from Bob's Burgers, the kid, normal sized Rudy or whatever, or little Rudy? I'll be okay. I just need my inhaler.
Nobody around here watch Bob's Burgers.
I watch Bob's Burgers.
I don't watch
Bob's Burgers. It's either little Rudy or normal sized Rudy. The fact there's two characters named Rudy, and that's what they call him.
Now, there's other Carpenter films that I like that he made after In the Mouth of Madness. There's Vampires I like very much. There's a Masters of Horror that I
Cigarette Burns. James Woods.
Cigarette Burns.
Because I was going to mention that Cigarette Burns is kind of like Mouth of Madness in some way.
In a very, and also to mention, he did 3 movies that he calls his trilogy of
the Apocalypse
trilogy.
Yeah.
The End of the World. And it's The Thing,
Prince of Darkness.
Thank you, Chad.
You're welcome.
And In the Mouth of Madness. And out of those 3, of course, The Thing is Carpenter's best film, but In the Mouth of Madness is beautifully shot. It's the last Carpenter film that I thought looked like a Carpenter film.
And
Does that make sense to you all?
Yes.
I love, and I don't want to give it away, but I love the ending of that film.
I do too.
Like it's just fun.
It's just, and the world's going, and not to give anything away, but we just said it's part of the Apocalypse trilogy.
But the character's reaction to that.
Yes.
And what he chooses to do as the last, I guess, kind of survivor.
The sane.
Yeah. Maybe. The last person that's not been taken over to...
Whatever it is. If you get a chance, go out and check it out. Even if you're not a Carpenter fan, I feel if you're a horror movie fan or you like Lovecraft or King, or even if you like post-apocalyptic literature, things like that, check out In the Mouth of Madness. Plus, it's got a great freaking title.
Yeah.
Well, and it just keeps going. Like, I'm flashing back to different scenes.
Now I want to watch it, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Talking about it.
And then y'all mentioned...
Can we stop recording?
Y'all mentioned Quartermass in the Pit. And I'm like, now I want to watch that, too.
Yeah, it's over there on the shelf.
I may still...
So I really, really, really enjoy Mouth of Madness, and I feel like it's the Carpenter film. I've met him twice. If I ever get to meet him again, that'll be the poster I get signed, because...
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it has a place in my heart because of when I saw it and stuff like that, but also it's just that bicycle thing, man.
And nobody remembers it.
Bicycle.
Nobody remembers
Queen.
I don't even think they've even done really a special edition of it. They did a steel box thing, but as far as a whole Shout Factory kind of...
Oh, yeah, but no.
I don't even know if you can find Quick Change on DVD.
The only reason I saw it was because it was, we had a free time, and it was on Encore. On one of their many Encore stations. I like Quick Change.
I was going to say, that's how I saw In God We Trust with...
that's how I saw it, too, with Andy Kaufman.
Because it came on, and what's his name? Igor.
Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman and Richard Pryor's in that. Yeah. And they did
Not a good movie, but a great cast.
Well, and there's parts in it that I absolutely love. But it came on 3 a.m. on one of the various HBOs, and check occasionally if you have HBO, some of the HBOs. There's one that at 3 a.m. they'll show some obscure movie from the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And it's always great cast, but just stuff that disappeared.
Yep.
James!
All right, my second one, which will be my last one, I'm going to go ahead and do...
It's your last one?
For this episode.
Except we're doing 2 episodes.
All right. Session 9. She said, remember, 2, 2, and 3? Do you
you could do 3 if you want.
I listened to Haley.
You obviously didn't.
I did, too. I just misunderstood the directions. There's a difference between listening and being an idiot.
So this film is called Session 9. The review on the back says that it's deliciously disturbing, the most terrifying psychological thriller since The Blair Witch Project, according to US Weekly. Session 9. One of the things that makes this movie so effective...
David Caruso.
Yep, David Caruso.
It's the setting. And the true story behind this is the setting is an actual insane asylum that they were tearing down. I forget the name of the insane asylum, but they were actually getting ready to tear it down.
Cuckoo Bonkers and...
Incorporated.
No, it's in Canada.
Part
of
hey,
the
show they restored what they could, but they actually had this place, and the actual layout of it was like a giant bat. So if you took a picture of this from the air, it looked like a giant bat. It had wings that came down. They know they're amongst their own.
Oh, sorry, we love Deadwood.
But
obscure
reference. Is a horror movie that is not. There's nothing. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah,
but
there's no blood and guts.
But it is all psychological. It's set in the Danvers State Mental Hospital, is what they call it in the movie. It's been closed for 15 years. They're getting ready to tear it down, which they did tear down part of it in reality. Some of it was saved for historic purposes because it was actually a historic asylum. But it's about the crew that has to go in and take out the stuff before they can tear it down.
Asbestos.
Yeah, the asbestos.
They're an asbestos removal crew.
So they're a hazmat elimination company. And they have to go in, they have to take out anything that when they tear it down or burn part of it down or whatever they have to do, it won't put stuff into the air or cause contamination, water, and all that stuff. And all it tracks is them for 5 days, which is what they've got. That's part of the plot of the movie is we've got 5 days, we got to get in, we got to get out, we're running out of time already. And it's the crew for 5 days in this asylum. One of them takes a break and finds these old tapes. And there's 9 sessions of the tape. And he listens to some whenever he has a break. And it's this person being counseled. And without going too much further, this place did exist. This place is just naturally a creepy place. It is a disturbing place to look at in real life.
It was Brad Anderson's first and best film.
Well, Brad Anderson went on to direct a movie. Well, go ahead, finish, James, and I'll...
But the entire plot is as they tear down this film, you start to find more out about them, and he keeps listening to the tapes. And it builds to a crescendo, I guess.
That's a good way to put it.
It's just constant tension, and they've got stuff going on in their lives, and they've got this job they've got to get done, and this place is already falling apart, and they're hazmats, so they're already at risk.
And they've all got different things that they don't get along with. It's a group that knows each other outside, so it's all character driven.
And they don't all get along, and they've got a younger guy that they think is and they throw out all these.
Yeah.
So there's all this different interplay of characters, but the real horror of it, really, what you think the last 3 minutes?
Probably the last 10 or 15. It builds and builds and builds.
And the last line of this movie is one I quote every Halloween. If you're friends with me on Facebook, I always quote movies. And the last line of this movie, I think, almost takes the air out of your lungs. I mean, it's just...
What is it again?
You don't remember?
No, I do know it. It's the... that's where the...
Buffalo Road? Where the deer...
It's from the tape, and without giving too much away, but the last line of the tape is, you find this, the character on the tape allegedly had multiple personalities, and one is a little girl, and one is the killer. Uh-huh. And the last line is, they think they're talking to the little girl, and then the killer's voice comes back and says that's where and it's a great line, and I'm delivering it wrong, but basically that's where the fear and the something live. Yeah. And then you get the closing scene,
spooky,
which wraps it all up, and
it's kind of a twist and kind of not of a twist.
Yeah,
it is a twist.
If you go back and watch it, you can say, "Yeah, I should have saw that coming."
Should have saw it coming, but you don't.
You don't, and it's all because it's just one or two characters, and it is psychological. It's not the Blair Witch Project. It's that they compare it to the Blair Witch Project in the review, but this is like to me. Other than being psychological, because I think the Blair Witch Project is psychological, but then pays off with a witch or something. This pays off so much differently.
Brad Anderson's, that's probably not his most well-known film, which is unfortunate. It's probably
his best film.
But it's his best film.
The Machinist is his best known film.
It's the best known film, and it's not a bad movie, but I never understood how great it is, other than Christian Bale's performance and losing a lot of weight. Yeah,
that's it. Everything in that movie is predictable.
Everything in that movie is extremely predictable. Whereas I think Session 9 is one of those unknown gems that we found outside of each other, right? Or did you introduce it to me?
Yeah, I was about to say this was
I watched it with you.
This is the one that I found, and it was in the $3.99 bin.
Did you introduce it to us too?
Yes. Because it was in the $3.99 bin at OnQ, and I kept saying, I
agree. I don't remember how we watched, but I know I watched it with you.
It was in the $3.99 bin, and I kept going, well, it's a cool cover, it's a cool cover. And I finally just picked it up, and if I remember correctly, you were like, yeah, cool cover, that probably is going to suck. And you didn't want to watch it for a long time, because I was like, no, I watch it, you need to watch this, you need to watch this. And I loaned it to you, and I think you had it for about a month before you all watched it.
That is not unusual.
No.
So, yes, but it is, it's just it is an undiscovered gem for most people.
And in my opinion, it's the only Brad Anderson movie, because Brad Anderson does the M. Night Shyamalan, where all of his movies have a twist. It's the only one where I haven't been able to predict the twist.
Yeah, there's one. The last one was on Netflix.
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. I didn't care for that.
No.
Well, he did one with Woody Harrelson on the train. What was it called?
Oh, nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, Haley, you waving? Oh, I thought you knew something.
Okay.
David Caruso is probably the biggest name. Peter Mullen, Brendan Sexton III.
Peter Mullen's also in another great that a movie that doesn't get enough, Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, Stephen Jivedon, and then Josh Lucas. That's the cast.
Josh Lucas would probably a few years right there.
Yeah,
was probably the most famous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there would have been a time, but yeah. So what now?
All right,
she wants you to check your phone. Oh, I thought she wanted to check your phone.
What's on his phone?
Oh, I live in the Weak and Wounded, Doc. That's the last line.
I live in the Weak and Wounded. That is a good line.
That was nowhere near close to what you said, buddy.
It's been so long.
It is not my favorite line, though. My favorite line in movie history is from Kill a Mockingbird.
But anyway, no, that is.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
Thank you, Haley.
The one that absolutely.
Because I would have remembered it.
Take the air out of it. To Kill a Mockingbird.
Because I do quote it all the time.
It's when Atticus gets up to walk out of the courtroom and the lady makes Scout stand up. You stand up. Your daddy's walking out. See, it gets me right then. Just there's when you take everything else that's happened up until that point.
Yeah. That is not a hidden gem.
No, but
yeah,
it takes the air out of me every time I think about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so Session 9 and Django will be my two for the first one.
All right. John Landis. What is he known for?
It's
American
covered.
Werewolf in London.
What
else?
else?
In moles.
Animal House. Oddly, isn't it funny that he does all this horror stuff? And he's talked about it because I know what you're going to do now. But he does all these horror stuff, and he really only ever made 2.
Yeah.
The rest of and that's not where his money came from.
And he's also
Animal House, Blues Brothers, Spies Like Us.
Nobody talks about
Places.
Oscar.
Shoot, I thought you were going to do Innocent Blood.
Nope, gonna bring up
because
Oscar.
I like Innocent Blood.
I like Innocent Blood too, but I like Oscar more.
I watched Oscar a couple of months ago, by the way. It was on.
Yeah. Who's
still funny?
Yeah. Oh God, Oscar is hilarious. It's one of these movies that nobody talks about, and the star of it is Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone in an actual good comedy.
was not his first choice.
No. Who was his first choice?
I don't remember. I was going to ask you. I was just reading about this. I don't think he's ever been pleased with the movie.
Who, John Landis?
Yes.
Well, see, who else is in it? Tim Curry.
Yep.
Harry Shearer.
Yep.
I peeked up Haley. I'm blanking. The lady from Dallas.
Marissa
Tomei. It is an amazing cast.
Adrian.
And Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood Smith's in it. Adrian's in it.
Yep.
She's at the end, right?
Yep.
Talia Shire.
A lot of people from Peter from Animal House. Peter Riegert is in it.
Yep.
Plays the door guy.
Yep. So Oscar, the best part about Oscar is it pretty much takes place in 2 or 3 sets.
William Atherton's in it.
Oh yeah, he is. I forgot about that.
It's one of the bankers.
Yep.
William, I made a living playing an asshole Atherton.
No, it's a great.
Joe did the same thing.
I wouldn't know that I made a living.
So what is it?
He does it pro bono.
Oh, and Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, Kirk Douglas is in it.
All 5 minutes.
Pre-stroke.
Yeah. But Oscar. So it is a movie where Sylvester Stallone plays a mob boss who has vowed to go straight. And it is, it all takes place in one day.
Yep.
And it's his attempt to finally go legit.
Yep.
And
because it was his dying father, who's played by Kirk Douglas' wish
for him to go straight. So he vows to go straight. And it's just one thing after another. That this guy who's been working for him as an accountant comes in, wants to marry his daughter, admits that he's been stealing money from him for years. Yeah. And then, there's also the FBI is constantly observing him because they do not believe this whole legit thing's going down. And then there's some issues with money and two tailors, who played by Harry Shearer, and the other amazing character actor whose name I'm blanking on right now, and I looked it up before I came here.
Is it not? It's not Stanley Tucci, is it?
No, it's not Stanley Tucci.
Who's the other guy? He's the one that's eaten by the dinosaur in Jurassic Park.
Yes, he's the one that's eaten by the dinosaur by the T-Rex.
Plays the attorney in Jurassic Park.
On the toilet, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Even though he's not technically on the toilet, he just ran there to hide. Anyway.
That's where I go hide. That's where I do my best crime.
Wayne Knight? I know that wasn't.
I think John Landis is one of those underappreciated directors, in my opinion. I know a lot of his movies are known, but people don't know that it was him that did them.
I think that he's quoted a lot and probably not given the credit for where that came from.
I agree. And I feel like Oscar, much like Bill Murray's Quick Change, is just one of those movies. And my personal opinion is I think Sylvester Stallone nailed it in that movie in terms of comedic timing.
I'm almost positive I read an article where he was not crazy about Sylvester Stallone. And I want to say it was like Al Pacino or somebody like that was originally going to play off.
But I think he did just... Sylvester Stallone as a... Sylvester Stallone
I agree with you. I like it. I saw it. I was the one who saw it in the theater.
Yeah. I did not see it. I did not get to see it in the theater. It was I did not know about it till many years later when I found it and said, "Oh, John Landis, Sylvester Stallone," and then of course Tim Curry, who is one of, I don't know about you, but the triangle here, it's one of our favorite actors.
I mean, he's all right.
I still want to do a movie.
I'm trying to think of a really. Do you ever see McHale's Navy?
I was going to say, yeah, you're going to bring up McHale's Navy, aren't you?
I still want to do a movie and just take all the people that have played weird, eccentric bad guys over the years.
Yeah.
I talked about this for years. I wanted to call it the Freak League. It'll be Christopher Walken, Tim Curry. It would have been a bunch of other people that are now dead because they didn't sign up for my movie. Not that I killed them, they just got old.
Do you have a plot for the Freak League?
Doesn't need one. Oh, literally.
It was Brad Dourif. I think you said Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif needs to be in it.
Yeah, if you were in a movie, Ron Perlman, and I literally
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah. If you were in a movie theater going, "Hey, listen," and it literally was just those guys lined up.
Choo.
Just see it.
But
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, literally just.
I'll give you the money to make it. I'll do the famous. I just want to see it.
I'm getting off. Sorry, where we're not talking about Oscar, but no, I'm going to bring up Tim Curry again about how great he is. An underappreciated hidden gem of a TV show is the animated series Duckman, starring Jason Alexander.
Yeah. And
Duckman's arch nemesis is a villain called King Chicken, and King Chicken is voiced by Tim Curry. And there is a scene. King Chicken somehow manages to get Tim Curry or Duckman to this town. And it turns out it's King Chicken's hometown, and it's infested with all these chickens, and every one of the chickens is voiced by Tim Curry and some other, and each one is done in a different way, and he nailed it. It's him at least 20 times doing 20 different voices, and each one, some of them you can tell it's him, but then there are some that it doesn't sound anything like him. I'm like, oh my god, this is so amazing. Highly recommend it. Duckman, King Chicken.
I remember Duckman, but I don't remember the episode.
And he was
now I want to see it, though.
Yeah, I'll bring it over. I have the entire series on DVD.
Of course you do. Is it Behind Cops?
No. Completely different.
Alphabetical order.
By the way, Duckman was created by the people who did Rugrats. Oscar!
Yeah, was not Oscar bait.
No. It is just a great movie that takes place all in basically one or two rooms.
It could really be almost a stage play.
Yeah.
It's a stage play.
And that's essentially what it is.
And it's one set, and you clearly can see that it's on the back lot somewhere.
Yeah. Especially when it's actually when it shows them out in the streets.
Yeah,
it's clearly a set. It's clearly they're in the studio.
Somewhere, back lot somewhere.
Yeah, but when they're in the house, you don't even realize that the movie, it puts you into it so much with what's going on, you don't even realize, oh, it's basically 3 areas. There's his office, the doorway to the house, and then the garden in the back of the house.
No.
That's it.
And no movie uses the Barbara of Seville better.
Yeah, no. That's the opening to the movie, people.
Mm-hmm. And then it plays all the way through it in different spots.
Oh, that's true. It does.
Yeah, no movie uses the Barbara of Seville better.
No. So if my 2 were comedies, when we do this again, I'm going to bring up more modern movies. Well, I'm going to bring up a couple of old movies too.
What time? Where were you at? Do you want me to do a third one? You do? Well, I don't. I have a whole list here. Do you want me to do a newer one or an old one?
We'll do another one. We get another episode.
I say do a newer one.
A newer one? Ex Machina.
I don't agree with that being a hidden gem.
Why? I don't hear anybody talk about it.
Really?
No. Do you? Well, I'm so sorry. I need to walk around in different.
It's more of I think it has a cult following. I don't think it's a.
Who's the cult? I've not met them. Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
They show up at Hoods once a week.
Have you seen it?
They burned
Obviously,
it. Obviously,
she's seen it.
No, she said people talk about it. Have you seen Ex Machina?
It's on my list. I have not.
I told you.
She got me.
But it's on my list. I haven't heard of any of these others yet.
Well, it's written and directed by Alex Garland. Alex Garland was a writer. He wrote for Danny Boyle for years. 28 Days Later, Sunshine. He wrote here is a hidden gem that in the last few years that came out that nobody saw. Dread. He wrote Dread.
Yeah, it is. I guess it could be a hidden gem. It's out of all the comic book movies nobody ever talks about it, and it's one of the best.
Oh, Carl
I
Urban.
loved Dread.
I actually rewatched it. I just said it was one of the best.
I rewatched it a couple of months ago. I don't even remember. I was down here for something, and I put it on. And I stopped what I was doing and watched it again.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know that it's a masterpiece, but
it's not a masterpiece. I mean,
but it nails the. So
Did it finally get Dread
came
correct?
from 2000 AD. Dread never takes off his mask. That was one of the big things people hate about the Stallone version of Judge Dredd.
He never wore that damn helmet. It was every excuse for him not to wear that helmet. So
I'm sure was 90% the studio.
And because we had to see Sylvester Stallone's contact lenses. Stupid.
But
see, what we'll do is add.
Hold on, Armand Desante.
It'll make it so much better.
That's my best Armand Desante impression.
That's good, Chad.
Should I do some striptease?
I'd rather you didn't.
But anyway, I think that Dread is it got the aesthetic of. So Dread comes from 2000 AD, was a British.
We've gotten totally off.
I know. I loved how we were talking about Ex Machina.
But anyway, no. I just wanted to say that Dread nailed the tone, which is not something Judge Dredd did as a movie. It nailed the tone that
but nobody saw it.
I saw it in theaters.
We saw it in theaters together, but I'm saying it's a $50 million movie that barely made $50 million worldwide.
I know.
Which is considered a bomb.
Yeah.
Ex Machina, I didn't see it till it came out on video. It's got Domhnall Gleeson and Oliver Isaacs in it. It's really a small movie that takes place in a small area.
And who's the star though?
What's her name?
Tomb Raider.
Haley,
say it out loud.
Alexia Valandes.
Haley, say it out loud.
Alicia Vikander.
That's what I said. Damn. Meg Foster plays the woman. Meg Foster, looking good, and crazy as batshit nuts as ever.
Yep.
Plays, and they're invited to a house. Oscar Isaac plays this rich billionaire. Domhnall Gleeson's invited there, and he's over. I don't remember the reason, but he gets there, and it's basically for the weekend just to try out this new AI robot that he's built.
Yeah. And
then the story develops from there.
So how does it compare to Her?
I saw Her.
What did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Did you see Her?
I've seen Her, yeah.
I've seen 30 minutes of Her.
It's not terrible, but Ex Machina is a good movie.
Yes, Ex Machina is a good movie.
I just wanted to throw
Ex Machina is a good movie.
I wanted to throw out the two.
I didn't get to see Annihilation, which is his last movie that came out. But I know that's funny. All right, well, I've got my other one for next time. Are we good?
I guess we're good.
All right.
So Haley's giving us the
quick recap.
Yes.
Which ones did we talk about?
Used Cars.
Quick Change.
Session 9.
In the Mouth of Madness.
Oscar.
What was my other one? Oh, Django.
Django.
Yeah,
So if you've not, I know.
And Ex Machina is the other one, and Dread. Let's throw in Dread.
Yeah, throw in Dread.
Definitely go out and buy it. It's got Carl Urban. Oh, so
and
good.
if you need an excuse to buy it, I bought it when it came in a 2-pack DVD with Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage, and I got both films on Blu-ray for $6.
Now.
At the Walmarts.
Drive Angry is written by Todd Farmer. You should come on our show. You're from Kentucky, sir. Answer my Facebook messages.
I would also love to talk about Drive Angry because I enjoyed the living daylights of it.
I love that.
I rewatched it again with my church
That's one of Stephen King's favorite movies of that year, too.
It was good.
It was fun. It was fun, and it delivered what it promised. He said he was going to drink blood out of a skull, or drink out of the skull of his enemy. How did the movie end, Chad?
With him drinking out of the skull.
It delivered what it promised,
but
people.
The best part is not Nicolas Cage. The best part is William Fichtner, or whatever.
Fichtner.
Fichtner. As the accountant from hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which has to be a bad job.
So let's add Drive Angry on our list.
Let's add Drive Angry to the list.
There, you all now have what, 9? Are we up to 9 films? 8 films you can watch. Tune in next time when we talk about probably 8 or 9 more. By the time
8 or 9 more, because there's a ton of movies out there that just don't get any love.
But we love weird stuff.
Yeah,
and this was all over the place. I like that.
Yeah, and we did not discuss what movies we were going to do with each other. No, we just came in. All right, well, that's been Bonehead. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in next week when we do part 2.
Electric
Boogaloo.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
It totally gets old.
It does not.
It's totally old.
Don't
love you, Mick.
Don't
May the fourth be with you.
Don't
May the
you
fourth be with
besmirch
you.
the name of who was in Electric Boogaloo?
May Jar Jar Binks and the whole Gungan race burn in hell.
But not with Jerry Reed.
And
Jesus
Dobby.
Christ! You just ended our show with genocide.
And
what the hell's
Dobby.
wrong with?
And Dobby and all the other house elves can also burn with them. I don't understand. People get upset about that.
He would have been fine. Once again, that's another character that would have been improved.
Dobby.
It's Dobby. It would have been improved if it would have been Jerry Reed. You would have loved it. You would have loved
credits.
I'm just a house elf.
You can just play this over the credits.
Loaded up and drunk.
We're gonna see if we can't stop Baltimore.
Baltimore.
What the heck just
I believe
happened?
that's what it would have sounded like. Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Hey, let's go catfishing.
That good old air hair boy.
They called him. I want to do Amos Moses. How can I do it?
They call him Baltimore.
Oh.